have chosen to believe the lie of the enemy, not the truth. Many today, as a result of Greta Thunberg being put on the spotlight to deceive, being used by the papacy to deceive the young people, even their parents. She has been given the title of messenger. She has been given the title of Messiah. She has been given the title of Jesus Christ himself. Notice with me now another title that they gave Greta Thunberg on the screen from Breitbart, September 24th, 2019. Catholic missionaries compare Greta Thunberg to whom? To Virgin Mary. Let's pause. So they compare her to Virgin Mary. Does that mean she's going to be given birth to the Messiah? Notice, back to the screen. The Mary Null missionaries have thrown their support behind 16-year-old climate activist Greta Thunberg, comparing her to the Virgin Mary. Christians getting their knickers all in a twist over the passionate, articulate, and knowledgeable witness of Greta Thunberg. Because of her age, seem to overlook the age of the Virgin Mary at the time of the Annunciation. The group wrote on Twitter, "Young women can and have changed the world," they concluded. From Climate Depot, climate activist Greta Thunberg proclaimed what? Successor of Christ. By who? By Church of Sweden, September 27, 2019. Now, this is supposed to be a Christian church, a Christian denomination. So they have said what? Very similar to what the Pope has said, that they are the successor of Peter or Jesus Christ himself, vicegerent of Jesus Christ. This is a whole denomination now, which has a Lutheran root. They are saying that she is the successor of Jesus Christ. Let's read. Notice, for her defense on the environment, the Swedish church has claimed that activist Greta Thunberg is the successor of Christ. At this time, Jesus of Nazareth, they said, has now named one of his successors. Greta Thunberg wrote the Lemons Kirka Church on Twitter. Notice, let's get some more context. We are going to also look at the same story from different news outlets. Notice, from Washington Examiner, September 30th, 2019, Church of Sweden proclaims Greta Thunberg successor to Jesus Christ in resurfaced tweet. Notice, the Church of Sweden declared star climate activist Greta Thunberg to be an appointed successor to Jesus Christ in a 2018 tweet that resurfaced. This was in December 2018, that resurfaced in the wake of her speech before the United Nations. The Church of Sweden has a history of promulgating climate alarmism, and Greta Thunberg particularly, noting on their official website, "When the Amazon burns, we gather to do what? To fight for Mother Earth together." The Church of Sweden is what? Is the largest Christian church in Sweden. So they gather together as the Amazon was burning, and to plead, to fight for what? Mother Earth. Spiritualism, nature worship that we have been seeing. And again, this is not just the Church of England. Evangelicals, the Christian churches now are getting on board with this whole climate change movement. And we have shown you even the Seventh-day Adventist General Conference and churches are joining this movement. Next article here. Notice, this is from Biblia Total News. Climate activist Greta Thunberg proclaimed successor of Christ by the Church of Sweden. September 28, 2019, the Church of Sweden believes that climate activist Greta Thunberg is the successor of Christ of this time due to her defense to the environment. The Church of Sweden, with Lutheran roots, affirmed through the social media, Twitter, that Thunberg and her discourse is the most similar image of Christ nowadays. Could you imagine Luther being present today and hearing these things? That the Church of Sweden, which has a Lutheran roots, is proclaiming Greta Thunberg as a successor of Christ. Is that what the reformers fought for? To proclaim a human being as a successor of Jesus Christ?
I will show you on the Georgia GAIA stones exactly where you can find the adversary. So the first commandment on the Georgia GAIA stones is to maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. And nature is not a, well, there's the adversary right there. That's why Freemasons can tell you their secrets in books, because they don't think you understand them in the first place, so they're not afraid to tell you what their secrets are. But if you know who they're talking about, then there's a problem for them.
For beauty is eternal, and we bow to beauty everlasting. For lasting happiness, return to one alone, and she surrounds you now. Great nature, refuge of the weary heart, and only balm for breasts that have been bruised. She hath cool hands for every favored brow, and gentlest silence for the troubled soul. She counsels her most wise. She healeth well, having such ministries as calm and sleep. She is ever faithful. Other friends may fail, but seek ye her in any quiet place. Smiling, she will rise and give to you her kiss. So must ye come as children. Little children that believe nor ever doubt her beauty and her faith, nor deem her tenderness can change or die.
Gaia is the Greek word for earth, and is also the name of the Greek goddess Mother Earth. She was said to have brought order out of chaos, which is the pet phrase of the Illuminati New World elites. The Hindus worship her as Durga, the Romans worshipped her as Diana, and the Egyptians called her Isis. The Mormons worship her as the Heavenly Mother. In Theosophy, she is called the planetary logos of Earth. To witches, she is called the triple goddess Gaia, and to Catholics, she is Mary, Queen of Heaven and Earth. Carl Jung called her the collective unconscious. To those in the New Age world of self-realization, she is the universal spirit, and the transition from the age of Pisces to the new age of Aquarius is the beginning of the unveiling of this mother goddess to the world. To the scientific world, Dr. James Lovelock presented Gaia as a theory that life was more than just random chances of haphazard change, but that it is actually, in fact, a self-aware, self-directing force within and around us all. Lovelock worked for NASA during the 1960s as a consultant to the Viking spacecraft project. His task had been to develop methods for detecting life on Mars. He claimed that while searching for suitable methods, he realized that the conditions that allowed life to exist on Earth could not occur naturally. The system here is so well balanced and yet so dynamic that life itself is acting like a self-regulating sentient superorganism. He told NASA that there was no possibility of life existing on Mars and that they should cancel their mission. He went on to write many climate change fear-mongering books, making statements such as the following: "Before this century is over, billions of us will die, and the few breeding pairs of people that survive will be in the Arctic, where the climate remains tolerable." He called humanity a cancer, and he claimed that Gaia, or Mother Earth, was now angry, and that her rising temperature was her way of trying to expel us, her unwanted virus. But in a more recent interview with MSNBC.com, he admitted, "I made a mistake. The problem is we don't know what the climate is doing. We thought we knew 20 years ago. That led to some alarmist books, mine included, because it looked clear-cut, but it hasn't happened." None of this is accidental. To those who are aware of the New World Order and of the Illuminati elite who run our world system, we know that they use the Hegelian dialectic of thesis, antithesis, and solution to bring about their desired changes upon society in ways which would seem natural and without suspicion to the ignorant and unobservant eye. In 1968, the Club of Rome met at Rockefeller's private estate in Bellagio, Italy. This think tank's job was to invent a crisis which would have a programmed response, to which they would then offer their pre-planned and long-awaited solution. This is how they bring order out of chaos, or as they love to call it, ordo ab chaos. Their purpose was to find a way to unite humanity in a common cause, and the catalyst for this unity would need to be an artificially created disaster of global scope and with global consequences. They came up with the idea of climate change. The Club of Rome claimed, "We are facing an imminent, catastrophic, ecological collapse, and our only hope is to transform humanity into a global interdependent, sustainable society based on respect and reverence for the earth." They believe humanity is the cancer, and in order to heal, Earth needs to purge herself of this disease. Overpopulation is said to be the cause of all Earth's current ills and woes. On 22nd of April 1970, Earth Day was first celebrated, harnessing the anti-war, anti-authoritarian, and anti-religious feelings of the Vietnam protesters and redirecting their rage and energy into a new cause to fight for, a new enemy to stand against, and a new religion to believe in, that of Mother Earth. In 1972, the Club of Rome published Limits to Growth, the Plan for Sustainable Development and the Remedy for Overpopulation. Voluntary sterilization, abortion, and euthanasia are culling means they hope people will, through re-education and brainwashing, choose for themselves. Vaccinations, weather modification, 5G and frequency technologies are a part of this hidden, nefarious plan of silent weapons warfare on the people of this earth. People will be moved from rural areas to large, smart cities for the sake of better control and monitoring. Urban life will be sold as green and eco-friendly, and fires and droughts and hurricanes will force people to make this move voluntarily. Morris Strong and Mikhail Gorbachev, both co-authors of the Earth Charter and Agenda 21, have called for the collapse of industrialized society and the end of national sovereignty. Gorbachev stated, "My hope is that this charter will be a kind of 10 Commandments." The Georgia Guidestones are just what he was talking about. Built in 1979 on a hill in Alberton, Georgia, they were commissioned and paid for by an anonymous donor who used the pseudonym R.C. Christian. They are 21-meter tall granite stone slabs with guides or commandments written on them in 8 different languages. They call for a new world order and a new world religion. Their prevailing theme is unity against climate destruction and the need to reduce the world population to 500 million people. Pope Francis has lent his hand to this fight. In his Save the Earth letter, he wrote that the earth, our sister, our mother, is in a crisis because of our harm to her, inflicted through our greed, materialism, and consumerism. He called for swift action and change of lifestyles, while the earth cries and the poor suffer. He claimed that the environment crisis was a moral and ethical imperative. Prince Philip wrote in the foreword of his 1986 book, "If I were an animal," he said, "if I were reincarnated, I would wish to be returned to Earth as a killer virus to lower human population levels." And of course, we all know his famous quote in which he calls us the useless eaters. The United Nations Global Biodiversity Assessment explicitly refers to Christianity as a faith that sets humans apart from nature and has stripped nature of its sacred qualities. The fate of mankind, as well as religion, Gore quotes Desjardins, depends upon the emergence of a new faith in the future. Armed with such a faith, we might find it possible to re-sanctify the earth. Mother Earth worship is just this new faith. It attracts feminists, environmentalists, and scientists, and all those who are disillusioned with traditional religions and materialistic science. Gaia is a symbol of female power. She exalts sensuality to the realm of the spiritual and elevates women from the domestic to the divine, from the weaker sex to the dominant, and from creator to cosmic womb and tomb combined. Ariana Grande's song God is a Woman illustrates all of this perfectly. She begins by showing herself at the center of the universe. She straddles the globe Earth between her legs, swirling the clouds with her fingers. She is in control of everything, including the weather. Men are portrayed as small little midgets hurling mean words up at a giant and bored Ariana. They are her sex slaves, lying on a bed at the base of her altar, offering themselves to her for her pleasure and use. They are like little puppies sucking on the teats of the giant female goddess she-wolf. She has replaced Michelangelo's male god and reaches out her divine feminine hand to her female creation, Eve. She has the three-headed wolf dog, Cerberus, the hound of hell, emerging from behind her head as if she is shape-shifting. This creature was the guardian of the gates of the underworld, whose job was to prevent the dead from leaving. Ariana and Gaia are keeping the spiritually dead trapped in false Gnostic beliefs so that they can't turn to the true God and be saved. She has reptilian eyes and a flickering snake-like tongue. She sits inside a pyramid surrounded by other sigils in the lotus position, showing mystery school initiation into the state of enlightenment. She dances inside the light of a candle. This is Luciferian enlightenment and ascension to divinity. Finally, she openly declares war on the Almighty God of the Bible. She quotes Ezekiel 25, verse 17, which should say, "And I will execute great vengeance upon them with furious rebukes, and they shall know that I am the Lord, when I shall lay my vengeance upon them." Instead, she changes it to say, "And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my sisters, and you will know my name is the Lord." She takes God's word and promise and flings it back at him with her own vile, blasphemous threat, smashing the domed glass vault of heaven above her head. Luciferians believe they have the last word, but the Bible says otherwise. It says that he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, and the Lord shall have them in derision. God is not a woman. He is male. God is not in creation. He is the Creator. Do not worship the creation rather than the Creator. Do not believe that you are God. You are not. God says, "I am the Lord. That is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images." Make sure that you give glory to God, to whom all glory and worship and honor is due.
Number 10. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. leave room for nature. 2 times. They said it 2 times. And when you say something 2 times, you say it to establish it. So the first commandment they have, keep the humanity, the population of humanity in perpetual balance with nature. Number 10, leave room for nature. That is their deity that they worship.
CD02 data intact. Initiating playback.
Elizabeth Sobek. You've heard the bad news, and it's all true. The Pharaoh Plague is devouring the biosphere. Life itself will cease to exist. But does that have to be the end? What if we could give life a future? What if we could build a kind of seed from which, on a dead planet, life could blossom anew? This is the aim, the hope, of Project Zero Dawn. To create a super-intelligent, fully automated terraforming system and bring life back from lifelessness. What would such a system require? At its core, it would need a true AI, fully capable of making the trillions of decisions necessary to reconstitute the biosphere. An immortal guardian, devoted to the reflourishing of life. We call it GAIA. Mother Nature as an AI. But that's just the core of the system. She will need to be surrounded and empowered by a comprehensive suite of subordinate functions. Think of them as extensions of Gaia's mind, each dedicated to a specific purpose. Now, these aren't AIs, but make no mistake, each presents an engineering challenge more profound than anything the human species has ever before attempted. Hardware that preserves and then gestates the billions of seeds and embryos from which life will be reborn. The construction of underground facilities to hold it all. And that's just the start. We don't have to build the entire system. The beauty of a fully automated terraforming system is that it can build itself. Now, over the days to come, you'll learn how all these functions, all these pieces that you'll be working on, fit together. How we'll race the clock to execute our harvest initiatives, write the software, build the tech and the facilities. How we'll lock it down and seal it up before the inevitable occurs. But even more important, you'll know how it doesn't end here. How Gaia will generate those deactivation codes General Harris talked about, and build the transmission arrays to broadcast them, shutting down the Pharaoh robots for good. How Gaia will not just build, but imagine any conceivable robot it needs to do its work across centuries. From detoxifying the Earth's ravaged atmosphere and poisoned seas, to the regreening of the Earth from cryo to rewilding the Earth with animal life. And then, when all that is done, how a new generation of human beings, spawned at cradle facilities around the globe, will partake of Apollo, the vast archive of human knowledge and cultural achievement from which they will learn of us, our world, and most important, how not to repeat our mistakes. It's not an impossible dream. It is within our grasp if we work tirelessly and stop at nothing to achieve it. We can't stop life from ending. But if you will help me, help Gaia, we can give it a future. Join me and help make that future real.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth, and them which dwell therein, to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and caused that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
That this is a mark of the beast. Simple. 666, which is 666. That means mark of the beast, as Bible says in the Revelation. We will go a little deeper in that extra. Guess what? I'm going to tell you the same thing. Yes, it is the mark of the beast. But in this time, I'm going to give you a little further information, with the depth information, why it is the mark of the beast. Something different. We understand the microchip has been released, and as soon as it's released in US and become really famous and everyone talking about it, yes, of course. The thing is, as soon as I heard this message, I started to do some research in a sense, where this microchip coming from and who produced it, who manufactured it. And I come to understanding that it was manufactured by the company called Biohacks. And we will come to that a little deeper later too. But when you go to that company website, and it's called Biohacks International. It's a company. It's based in Sweden. Okay, and including the logo means something. They, out of nowhere, they have named this microchip, the NFC tag, N-tag 216216. What that to do with this? What I'm trying to say? Simply, let's cut it quicker. 216. Think about it. 6 times 6, 36. 36 times 6, 216. Oh, coincident, eh? Do you think that's coincident? No. As a mark of the beast, they're trying to tell us, hey, this is the mark of the beast. Revelation 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for the number is that of a man, and his number is 666. There's a few things I like to point out here. That first, the first company, the US-based company, the name itself, many people can say it's coincidence, but think about it. The first company is tagged, it's called Wisconsin. Wis, if I break it into three things, wisdom, con, also that's another meaning I like to tell you, and sin. Of course, sin, Wisconsin. And also, before I go to the detailized information, whoever produced this, they're also the manufacturer of these products is called Foxconn. Why these people are trying to bring that con, C-O-N information? Let me tell you also another thing. Why this bio, out of nowhere, the bio word came out also. Also, it's American Standard Text, which can be converted into a computer language. We also call hex mode. And I want to go deep into that. But when you convert this word, C-O-N, okay, you can do it by yourself later. And convert this, you can see the hex mode is 63, 6F, 6C, which is 666. It's not a coincidence again. And let's say I'm going to put a word bio, B-I-O. Simple, right? Convert that to hex mode. 62, 69, 6F, which is 666. Is it coincident? I don't think so. So bio, con, everything that in a hex conversion says 666. And here, they're challenging, they're telling you people that this biochip's called N-tag 216, which is 666. What else do you want to know? What else you want me to prove to you?
that so many of us are here today is a recognition that the threat from climate change is serious, it is urgent, and it is growing.
It all sounds very green. The Environment Secretary, Ed Davey, has been urging other countries to get serious about tackling climate change.
Dear next president, climate change is the most serious problem facing humankind.
We are here all together because we know that the world needs to fight climate change with much, much greater seriousness.
Madam Vice President, you're in charge of the environment for the Iranian government. That's your portfolio. How serious is your government when it comes to tackling climate change, taking serious measures?
Yes, our government is very serious because we adopted a low-carbon economy last year in the government, and we started working in that direction.
Earth's climate is now changing faster than at any point in the history of modern civilization, primarily as a result of human activities, and that climate change could kill thousands of Americans and cost the U.S. economy hundreds of billions of dollars. Pretty serious. And you seriously may have missed it because even though the report was supposed to come out in December, the Trump administration released it Friday.
Well, my message to President Trump would be very simple, that the rest of the world is very serious about climate change. So are the scientists. The vast majority of scientists are also very serious about climate change. President Macron of France are calling us in a very urgent way to take climate change seriously because the consequences are unthinkable.
I'm here today to say that climate change constitutes a serious threat to global security.
We hear it so much that it feels like a buzzword, but it is far from it. Climate change is a real and serious issue. But isn't the climate always changing?
America's on the verge of technological breakthroughs that will enable us to live our lives less dependent on oil. And these technologies will help us be better stewards of the environment. And they will help us to confront the serious challenge of global climate change.
Around the world, it was the warmest ever recorded. And the fact that the climate is changing has very serious implications for the way we live now.
Well, scientists say climate change is getting worse, and there could be serious consequences for our planet in the next 20 years.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says it's time to get serious about keeping ambitions high on climate action and on building resilience.
With science forecasting a dramatic rise in both the frequency and severity of disasters, it's time to get serious about keeping ambitions high on climate action and on building resilience and reducing disaster risk.
This unanimity on climate change, that it's a serious threat in need of a serious response, stands in stark contrast to President Trump's position.
It's really cold out, and right on cue, Twitter has been overrun with climate deniers cracking tired jokes about global warming. But beyond social media jabs lies a serious and ongoing discussion about how scientists connect extreme weather to underlying climate change.
As I said in a press conference yesterday, we have seen unprecedented mobilization of the world community. People are taking it seriously, and we have a chance actually to solve this problem if we act forcefully and quickly.
And you have made it a serious part of your agenda. And you did say in the State of the Union that no challenge poses a greater threat to future generations than climate change.
David Miller joins me here in Toronto. He is an ambassador for inclusive climate action at C40. What's your reaction to the numbers in this report that we're actually double the global rate?
Well, it's grim, it's serious. If you've been involved with this issue for a long time, as I have, it's sadly not a surprise.
Al Gore is here with us in Studio 57, and we're very pleased to have him. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So tell me, in 10 years, what has changed that alarms you?
Well, there have been two big changes, Charlie, in the last decade. Number one, the climate-related extreme weather events have become way more serious, way more common. Superstorm Sandy here flooded the War Memorial 9/11 site, for example.
For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king.
An evil man seeketh only rebellion, therefore a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. Fools, because of their transgression and because of their iniquities, are afflicted. Their soul abhorreth all manner of meat, and they draw near unto the gates of death. And why call ye me, Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. If ye will fear the Lord, and serve him, and obey his voice, and not rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then shall both ye and also the king that reigneth over you continue following the Lord your God. But if ye will not obey the voice of the Lord, but rebel against the commandment of the Lord, then shall the hand of the Lord be against you, as it was against your fathers. But they rebelled against me, and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them, to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land. But if ye refuse and rebel, ye shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. But they rebelled, and vexed his Holy Spirit. Therefore he was turned to be their enemy, and he fought against them. While it is said, Today, if ye will hear his voice, harden not your hearts as in the provocation. Ye have wearied the Lord with your words, yet ye say, Wherein have we wearied him? When ye say, Every one that doeth evil is good in the sight of the Lord, and he delighteth in them. Or, where is the God of judgment? For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts shall they heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables. Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. He that committeth sin is of the devil, for the devil sinneth from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination. Because they rebelled against the words of God and contemned the counsel of the Most High, therefore he brought down their heart with labor. They fell down, and there was none to help. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now have I kept thy word. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit.
This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away.
And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first.